Well, hello, Fondren. It's Rob, and it's wonderful to connect with everyone. I wish that we could see each other face to face. Wanted to take some time to check in with you today and share a few updates on church and also to share a few thoughts about this season that we are in right now. To begin with, I want to say I hope all is well with everyone. To the best of my knowledge, at least, everyone in the congregation is well for the most part right now, and we're very grateful for that. Thank you to everyone who has been reaching out to neighbors and to one another and checking on fellow Fondrenites. It is wonderful that our congregation is staying so connected. And thank you to everyone who's reaching out to one another and making that happen. I also want to say a personal word of thanks to everyone for your prayers and your thoughts and your calls and cards. When I was down with pneumonia last month, that was not a fun way to spend part of summer, but I am very, very grateful to you for your prayers and for your everyone reaching out to me as you did. So thank you very, very much for that. We are 115 days into this coronavirus pandemic season. Since we began sheltering at home and taking all these measures that we've learned to take, it's been a long ride so far. 4 months we have been at this. And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired. Spiritually, physically, emotionally, kind of tired. And part of that exhaustion comes from just having to learn this whole new vocabulary of how we are living together. We've learned all these new terms that impact our daily lives, like COVID brain, which is how they're describing our increasing forgetfulness. I lose my keys every day. It takes me twice as long to find them, it seems. And COVID anxiety, that worry that comes from having something impacting our lives over which we have so little control. We've learned how to social distance from one another, and for many of us, that social distancing has begun to feel like social isolation. This has been and continues to be a hard season. And I tell you, I wish to the bottom of my heart I could say it's going to be over soon. But the experts are telling us that we're going to be at this for a while. So I think that part of what we need to do as a church is begin to work on some strategies for how we are going to maintain our spiritual community together, and also how we're going to maintain our individual spiritual health during this time. Well, a couple of updates about our spiritual community. The worship committee has determined that we will continue worshiping online for a while longer this summer. The session will be meeting by Zoom call on Sunday night, and we'll be discussing how long into the future we are comfortable saying that we will be staying online. As I've told you in previous communications, we're really acting conservatively, trying to make decisions erring on the side of safety rather than erring on the side of quick and rushing. So thank you to everyone for your patience as we are all learning how to make these decisions and live into this new reality. We will keep you posted as soon as we can about opportunities to gather at church. But for now, we're going to stick with our online worship and also with our morning prayer service on the front lawn outdoors with social distancing measures being taken and masks. I hope that you'll join us for that if you feel comfortable doing that. If you don't, we completely understand. Everyone needs to make their own decision about that. Another thing I would like to share with you is that work on the building is continuing. We have gotten a lot of work done. As you'll recall, when all this began, we were just in the process of starting our renovations to the building. Primarily the work we're doing right now is on the sanctuary, and it's external work on the brick and stone work to help correct the leaks that we have in the building that have developed over time. We have a great contractor. The work they're doing is very slow, meticulous work, but they are doing a great job. We are very pleased with their work so far, and we look forward to being able to solve that problem with the moisture in the building and repair the interior of the sanctuary and once again be able to enjoy that beautiful, beautiful worship space. So thank you to our project leadership team and to the capital campaign leadership team for their hard work and making sure this work is continuing to get done. Speaking of the capital campaign, the campaign team has met this summer a couple of times with our consultant, and we are going to continue moving forward with the capital campaign. Fondren is blessed with generous and committed members who give of their time, talent, and treasure to the life of our church. And one of the things that has become abundantly clear to me during this season when we've been apart from one another is that this church is strong. This church's vision, its community, its connections, and its bond are very strong, and our roots in this place run deep. So we're going to charge ahead with the work that needs to be done to prepare our physical plant for another generation of ministry in the Fondren area and in Jackson as a whole. So over the next few months, you'll be hearing from the leadership team as they begin to do their work. There's nothing to report right now other than that they are meeting and preparing to reach out. So please do be on the lookout in the next few months for information about the capital campaign and about the plans for the building. The other thing I will share with you is that our spiritual engagement ministry has been hard at work developing opportunities for spiritual engagement while we're in this sequester season. There are new opportunities, including a book club. We're working on a long-term Bible study and several other options that you'll be hearing about in the next couple of weeks. If you haven't already, I would encourage you to plug in to one of the many opportunities that are going to be coming out. Since we can't gather together for worship, we have our worship online that we can enjoy at home in comfort and in safety. But it's important that we also engage with one another. And although our worship is more of a passive experience watching it online, some of our spiritual engagement ministry opportunities are very engaged online through Zoom calls and things like that. So if you haven't already, I would encourage you to engage in one of those. Those are going to be great opportunities to connect with our Fondren family, but also to give yourself a chance to grow and focus spiritually. This season is definitely taxing all of us, and it is putting a lot of burden on our spirits. I don't know about you, but every day I just worry about the community, about my family. I worry about my neighbors. I worry about my church and our members. There's just a lot of worry in the world right now. And there's really nothing we can do to just magically make it go away. But I think we can do some things to help manage our worry. A couple of things that I have started to do. I began doing these at the beginning of the pandemic, and I kind of fell out of practice for a while. So I've begun to refocus on them lately. Are things like limiting how much of the news that I'm watching. I do keep track of the coronavirus cases in Mississippi and in Hinds County so that we have that information to rely on as we're making decisions as a church. But I really try to limit myself to how much news I'm watching every day, because as much information as I can gather about what's going on, the only things I can do about it are to wear my mask when I go out, to socially distance from folks, to wash my hands, and to stay home when I don't need to be out of the house. That's really all any of us can do right now. But I would add one more thing to that list, and that is we can pray for one another, and we can pray for those who are doing the hard work every day of making sure that essential services, medical care are all being provided in our community. You never thought there'd be a day when working in a grocery store would become a really high pressure job, but it has. So many of our people who work in the service industry and the medical world are being piled upon with the anxiety of the world. So keeping them in our prayers is a wonderful way of doing something that we can do proactively. And keeping them in our prayers also keeps them in the front of our hearts, so that when we encounter those people, we might help ease their burden a little bit with a thank you, with a word of gratitude and a word of acknowledgement for the work that they're doing. I do hope that you are spending some time reaching out to folks. I know that we're not able to spend time visiting one another, but have you ever had that feeling that you run into an old friend and you think to yourself, why haven't I called that person in so many years? Or you see someone and you think, how could I have let so much time go by without reaching out? This is a great season to do that. This is a great time to reach out to that person you haven't talked to in a while, that college friend you want to catch up with, that neighbor that moved away that you haven't seen in years, that Fondren friend who has moved to a new community. It's time that we learn to connect with one another in more and in diverse ways, because connection in many ways is the balm available to us for what ails our souls. Connecting with one another, finding time to be together, even if not physically, to visit on the telephone, to share an email, to drop a note in the mail, to make a Zoom call. There's so many ways that we can connect, but the connection is what really matters. I am deeply grateful to be serving this church right now. I'm so grateful to everyone in our congregation who are trying to work to care for one another. I'm also very grateful that we are all pulling on our oars in the same direction, if you will. It is wonderful that as a congregation, we are of one mind, that we want to go together in the most faithful, fruitful, and safest way possible. I have been touched by the care that our members have shown for one another and the concern our members have shown for one another. It really speaks to the depth of the relationships at Fondren, and it speaks to how much this wonderful church means to all of us. And frankly, for me, it just makes me more excited for the day when we're back together again, because I know that if any church will come through this season stronger than it went in, and with bolder vision, it's this one. Friends, please continue to take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Please do what you need to do to tend your soul and your spirit. Be on the lookout in the next couple of weeks for information about spiritual engagement ministry opportunities. If you're able to join us on Sunday morning for morning prayer at 9 o'clock in the front lawn, I hope you will. But above all, continue to take care of yourself, take care of one another, and know that you are dearly loved and dearly missed by your church.